Hi, I'm Andy. Welcome to Play It Loud. I want to start a crusade. There's a lot of American YouTubers who, unsurprisingly, extol the virtues of American bands, particularly those YouTubers who emphasize their, like my childhood, 60s, 70s. Norman Masloff's a great example. If you haven't seen his YouTube, check it out. It's really good. He's in San Francisco and, unsurprisingly, goes for a lot of San Francisco bands. But I find this leaning far too easily towards the USA, because we had some great bands over here that appear to be going under the radar. Have gone, will go. They don't get the publicity, they don't get the fever that surrounds San Francisco groups in particular. Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead. There's a lot of them. And we had some great live bands. And in the mid-60s, the British bands, they were doing covers of American soul and R&B. It was their staple. They all did it. There was not dozens, it was probably hundreds of bands who listened to American Stax, Atlantic and blues covers, and they started there. Some of them went on to great things. Most of them died in the first band I want to cover is this band, Spencer Davis Group. This is their first album. It's not the best of the three that they made, but it gives a perfect example of what I have said, where the English pop bands at the time, they weren't called rock bands, covered American Stax, covered Atlantic, covered blues. On here, and I'll run through, not all of them, but tracks you may know, you certainly have heard of. Dimples, Searching, Every Little Bit Hurts, Jump Back, Midnight Train. These were staples, staples of live UK bands at the time. This is a better album, their second album, but it's still Georgia on My Mind, Let Me Down Easy, Back in My Life Again, Watch Your Step, Ray Charles. A covers band. They didn't write their own music. This, seek this out, Autumn 66 was their final album, and it's still got covers on it. When a Man Loves a Woman, Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. But this is Stevie Winwood. Stevie Winwood before he became very famous. Very young at the time. I think the first album he was 15, 16 years old, so he couldn't have been more than 17 or 18 by the time of this. And it's well recorded. Excellent, excellent mid-60s British pop. Right, so Stevie Winwood. They didn't write their own kit, so he left. And he formed a band that most people know, but going under the radar. Traffic. He didn't just form a band, he got three other excellent musicians around him. Jim Capaldi did his own solo albums, the drummer. Chris Wood, flute, saxophone, and Dave Mason, who went on to become something of a solo star in the States. Didn't make it so much in the UK. But this is a wonderful, wonderful band, often put into the psychedelic pop rock category. It's not. There's two tracks on here that I'd bring to your attention. Nothing wrong with the others, but No Face, No Name, No Number. Truly wonderful love song. Really, really excellent. Stands out. But probably doesn't stand out as much as the track that got well covered. Grateful Dead, I believe, Crosby, Stills and Nash. Dear Mr. Fantasy. It became a staple of 70s stadium rock bands. Good reason for that. Traffic were a wonderful band. And this, in my opinion, is their best album. Their second album was the last album on which Dave Mason featured. So he got writing credits and he wrote some really good stuff. While Stevie Winwood and Capaldi did, I think, most of the lyrics. Winwood did the music. For a lot of the other tracks, There's a track on here which was a single, but I don't think it was very big at the time. Feeling All Right. Really, really lovely. But this is brilliantly played by 4 brilliant musicians and highly recommended. Oddly enough, I saw Traffic as well, and they weren't as good as Spencer Davis live. They didn't have that, the 4 people. Winwood was now on organ, not on guitar. He played a lot of guitar with Spencer Davis. Now he's playing organ. Chris Wood, flute and saxophone. Dave Mason, guitar. Jim Capaldi, drums. Live, it didn't work so well because that's not a really good combination of instruments. You could do it in the studio where you could overdub, but you couldn't do it on a stage. Great pity. But they were a wonderful band. So first in line, Traffic. Second in line, I'm not going to go on, not at detail for these, because we're going back to mid-60s cover bands. Pretty Things. At the time, Pretty Things' first single was a track called Rosalind, and the pirate radios gave it a lot of play, and I think New Musical Express featured it because the Pretty Things, as their name might have suggested, put themselves up against the Rolling Stones. They were dirtier, longer haired, louder, nastier. Your parents didn't like them. They were a covers band. This first album, Roadrunner, Judgment Day, Oh Baby Doll, Don't Lie to Me, The Moon is Rising, and inevitably Pretty Thing, the Bo Diddley cover. A great, great live band. Stood next to their lead singer in a bar once. You could do it in those days. Really, really good stuff. Their second album, different, but perhaps the last one where they were still doing a lot of covers. They went on to write their own stuff. SF Sorrow. They went on to be very successful, but under the radar. They haven't come back. So, Traffic, Spencer Davis, Pretty Things. Get hold of it, stream it, find it somewhere. The CDs are really cheap. And if you're in America, please pass it on to Jad Kassem and those sort of people. Traffic need audiophile re-releasing. If you can get hold of it in any way you can, play them loud. Oh, and please subscribe. Makes a difference. Till next time, thanks.